This is Maggie and Perloff.
DeionSanders getting in the muck with some college kids on social media are words I never thought I'd say. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is getting peak drama with Coach DeionSanders, the Colorado Buffaloes, and now Perloff, what they call a bunch of clapbacks. Now, I'm not going to get into the details, all of them, because it's very convoluted web that I would have to weave here. But just know this. There was a story written about where all the transfers landed, who Deion essentially told to hit the portal when he first got to Colorado. One of those transfers,
which, by the way, he put on social media. His team put on. So this is not
is
not a completely new area we're talking about.
No, the only reason we know he told all those guys to hit the portal is because it was on his own YouTube channel, Deion's.
Yeah, okay, that's what we're talking about.
Yes,
okay.
He did this all as a reality show. And a kid came out who ended up transferring to Austin Peay, so going from FBS, like the number one division, basically, to FCS, one level below. And he said that Deion didn't even ever give him a one-on-one when he was going to hit the portal. An assistant coach took care of it. He was with another kid. It was basically like a mass cutting, if you will. And he said that, quote, he was destroying guys' confidence and belief in themselves. The way he did it, it could have been done with a little more compassion. Now, to prove the point that there is no compassion, then SHEDEUR goes on social media and says, I don't even remember this guy. He must have been mid. He must have been mediocre. That devolved into more Colorado players and then more teammates of this kid who said he felt his whose feelings were hurt by this, all kind of going back and forth with each other on social media. Something you never think that DeionSanders would dip his toe into. Why would the coach ever get involved with what is clearly a spat between teenage, young men? You know, it's so childish that being a grown adult, let alone the coach of a Division I football program, let alone somebody with the stature of Deion why he would ever then get involved in this where he tweets stats, career stats of a guy who's playing for Austin Peay and says, Lord Jesus on it. Like, how bad are these stats? This is so unbecoming, even for Deion, someone we know for flash and for doing things outside the box.
Can I introduce you to a former NFL player named DeionSanders who took over the guy? What coach are you talking about? This is not Bo Schembechler. This is DeionSanders, the ultimate modern coach. Do you remember last year when everybody on earth was praising DeionSanders for reinventing the whole idea of what a college coach can be? Remember the portal? He came in, and by the way, I know people were somewhat critical of him mass cutting everybody, but there was general like, whoa, there's a new sheriff in town. The dude's called CoachPrime. I mean, the rules don't apply, and that
not
used
like
to
Saban, you mean?
The rules don't The rules don't apply, and that used to be the best thing about him. And now I don't think that we can go back and criticize him now for that style, because that's what you get with DeionSanders. That's what you signed up for. That's what we all signed up for, and we love it. We love paying attention to it. It's really cool when they win. It's also kind of interesting when they lose, because he's CoachPrime. He's so unique as a person that, of course, he's in there mucking it up, because he's DeionSanders. He just doesn't care like other people do. He's not going to go with anyone else's convention. That's his great strength.
Okay, but even for Deion, who does things differently, is there no line at all? And there's no line, and there's not a line of publicly humiliating a young man who plays at Austin Peay. I mean, there's nothing here about punching down. There's nothing about, hey, you're a coach. Maybe you should be trying to unite. Maybe trying to quash this. Maybe trying to be the adult in the room. Instead, you acted just as childish as everybody else. You couldn't tell the difference if that actually came from Deion or if it came from SHEDEUR, and that's a problem for DeionSanders, who likes to tell everybody that even though he's flashy and he's Deion, he's old school at heart, and that he is, this man of great character. That's a lie. A man of great character would not do this. There has to be a line.
He's a man of all-time enormous ego. And from the day he stepped onto the baseball diamond and the playing field at Florida State, there's never been an ego like him. And that sounds negative. But with CoachPrime, formerly Primetime, it was an incredible thing to behold. First of all, because he was the best player on the field in the NFL. In a league full of incredible athletes, nobody was Deion Sanders. Maybe Bo Jackson, but other than that, there was no athlete like him. And he actually lived up to his word. So it's an unusual thing. That's why we got so into Deion, because he could always back up this talk. Now, here's why everyone's killing him, in my opinion, because they had 4 wins last year. If he was 11-1, people would be like, man, look at Coach Prime. Like, I think that they're playing. I think not necessarily. Yes, I think you're playing the result.
See, I don't think so, because this one is distasteful. Like,
I mean, Bill Belichick and Nick Saban are 2 greatest coaches of all time. How many incredibly distasteful things have they said? Bill Belichick is a jerk.
Oh, definitely. And we call him that. And we call him a cheater. And we call it out when we see it, even if we respect the fact that he was a winner and did it in his way. We don't consider him above reproach. He's not beyond criticism. And neither is Deion here, because this is low. It's lame. It's loser behavior from a guy who has built a brand on being a winner and always backing up what he says. This is loser behavior. This is being like a loser who feels the need to call out a kid.
So you would never call him that if they were 11-1 last year. You're calling him a loser because he was a loser on the field.
Well, I'm calling it a loser because this is outside of football. This is lame behavior, don't you think?
It is. Yes, this is lame, and I'm not necessarily defending him. I'm just saying this is what you got when he cut everybody on camera. It's the same thing. It's the same energy. So I think you gotta take the good with the bad with Deion. Listen, defending this is very hard to do.
No, but I get what you're saying. Like, you want the whole Deion, or you won't get. You say this a lot about Draymond Green.
Yeah, you can't have half a Deion.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, he's not a normal coach, and he never will be. And his brashness he got in there and disrupted everything last year. Like, he made Colorado the center of the college football world for the first time, maybe ever, or at least since Eric Bieniemy was there. I mean, Colorado was never anything. And all of a sudden, you have A-list celebrities on the sideline. So he definitely was a disruptor. And the thing is, he can't be a well-behaved Deion and be a disruptor. The 2 things don't go well together, and this is more consistent behavior. Also, he's so confident. He's got such a big ego. Like, he does not care. Like, you can't. And the other thing too, he's a sports dad. Like, you can't get into it with his sons. You hear him talk about his son. He's like LeVar Ball. Like, his son's reinvented the sport in his mind.
Okay, and I appreciate that as a parent, but as a Division I football coach, that makes him seem like amateur hour. Because if you can't, I get you want to defend your kid, but at the same time, if you're going to coach your kid, that's tricky. And you can't always just blindly say he's doing the right thing, because SHEDEUR shouldn't have done this either. I mean, SHEDEUR's somebody who's fancying himself a top 5 pick, top 10 pick in the NFL. It's time to grow up, and I think people said that to Caleb Williams, and they say it to Kevin Durant, and they say it to every athlete who gets down and dirty on social media. It's just not becoming. Now, does it impact your play on the field? I don't know. Doesn't for Kevin Durant. Probably won't for Caleb Williams. But if you're trying to project this sort of public image, it's below you, especially when it's someone who is not enjoying the same success as you are. It makes you look petty. It doesn't make you look like the big shot and the big man on campus. It makes you look like the bully on campus.
I understand what you're saying, but there's also this trash talk, and I'm going to use basketball. There's this trash talk mentality, like, where I'm the man and I'm going to trash talk you. I'm thinking, this is way out of my comfort zone, but I'm thinking of the Drake, Kendrick, Lamar spat right now. Sure. It's kind of like that energy to me. It's like, I'm the man, don't come at me, or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. It just feels like he's in that energy. Like, Deion played, he just oozed confidence. He walked on the field and you knew you weren't going to beat him because he was the best player and he told you he was the best player. And he created this aura about him. And I understand what you're saying. There's this aura around Deion and SHEDEUR. The other thing too, I think it's a little bit of a age thing too. A lot of kids say wild things on. I know, but see socials.
That Deion's. How old's Deion? 60?
Yeah, but
he's too old for this.
He's young at heart.
Yeah, young at heart. That's funny.
No, I know what you mean, but you have to admit, like, a lot of young kids say things and do things on TikTok that look bad. So we have to give them a lot of leeway.
And that's why, listen, I thought SHEDEUR looked bad, but it's, a bunch of kids, and we're talking about this social media dust up that happened yesterday, and DeionSanders actually entered the fray by essentially dunking on some kid who plays for Austin Peay by saying Lord Jesus on his career stats, like really kind of calling the kid out. It's funny you say, like, you got to keep the aura. This pierces it to me. you talked about how Deion had this big approval rating and everyone was interested in what Colorado was doing and how different it was and whether Deion was going to be a success. I think he's lost people with this one. Again, it's a social media story, so it's only going to hit a certain number of people. But this is a little crack in what is maybe a facade. I mean, Deion is all about how you project the program, right? What do you project? Winning, and even if they're not winning as much on the field, and first class organization, and you're going to get the best coaching and all of that. I think he lost a lot of people with this, and I'm one of them.
Wow. People are shallow. If they win, that the bandwagon will be full in 2 seconds. I mean, this is a win-loss business here, and you can do a lot more when you win.
Here's the question for today: are you in or out on Deion? Because I think there were a lot of people who are in, like, wow, this could work. You had one win 2 years ago. Then he takes over the program. It was thrilling to start the season 3-0. Reality hit pretty hard. They ended up winning 4 games, but, bad losses to the likes of Oregon, who they get blown out by Oregon, or USC, where they had a chance to win that game and couldn't close the door. So they lost kind of every which way, and reality came for them. And I think people were definitely willing to see how year 2 goes. But is this what it's going to be? Because the people who accuse this of being a sideshow and not really about football, they just got a lot of ammo. And beyond that, I just think it's just bad. Like a guy who preaches, I've actually got this great character. I mean, your actions reveal it.
Well, I mean, come on. Deion said he had a great character. We have 40 years of watching it.
And listen, I want to believe him that, he is having guys' best interests at heart. And I didn't like the way he did the mass, hey, everyone hit the transfer portal because I'm bringing my luggage and it's a Louis Vuitton. I mean, probably could have been said in a little nicer way than that, considering you're crushing kids' hopes and dreams in the moment. And I'm also wondering, what do the people at the university have to say? This is a tough one.
Oh, come on. It's Colorado. It's the worst sports department in the history of Division I sports. They're thrilled. Believe me, remember where they were before him.
No, I get it. But I understand that we talk about college football and we think, oh, these guys are professionals now because they're getting NIL money. But I still think there's an idea that, hey, you are trying to develop people's talent. This is like young men who are coming into the program, and you are trying to get them ready for the pros and, by extension, for life after football. And I wonder if people at the university are wondering, like, you gave Deion so much power, and now it's going to go unchecked because how do you take it back? And even if you don't like what he did here on social media, is there anyone from the university who could actually step up and say, hey, can you chill out on calling out a kid on social media when you're a Hall of Famer?
If honestly, like Colorado, I would imagine they're still thrilled to have him there and probably worried that he's going to leave. That's how I would focus on it, because even you got to take it all. You got to take the good Deion and the bad Deion, because otherwise you don't really have a program. You have one of the worst programs in the country. If Deion leaves and it takes all, I just read they have like 40 transfers coming in. Who's on the team? If he leaves, they could be the worst team in college football next year. Say he goes to a bigger program.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think anyone in Colorado's AD office is calling Deion. Would you want to make that call? Hey, Deion, lay off on social media. What would Deion say? He'd be like, who are you?
This?
Yeah.
I don't even know if he'd pick up. 855-212-4227. You are welcome to weigh in on this in the poll question today, and our question to you: are you in or out on Deion Sanders year 2 at Colorado? Lots more to do today, and so glad to have you on board. EJ, Carlos, I got to tell you something. I'm going to tell you after the break. I started doing something, and it's freaking me out. I've done it twice now in the past week, and I don't know if this is a sign of something or what, and I'm curious if you guys have done this also.
Are you hearing break music at home now?
No, that's what we call the bogus. 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in on Deion Sanders. Are you in or out? particularly after he's going on social media to criticize and sort of dunk on a player who goes to Austin Peay. I mean, it was a long, winding road of how we got there, Perloff, but that was essentially what it all boiled down to. You can listen to us on all these Infinity Sports Network affiliates, who we love. Thank you. You can listen to us on the absolutely free to download Odyssey app on Sirius XM channel 158, and come on in and watch the show. YouTube.com/Infinity Sports Net, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Carlos is on the ones and twos and has a theme today for the music. And
Start off with the Beatles?
Beatles, gosh. So, well, we have to hear 2 or 3 songs to get the theme. So
Okay.
we're not even going to guess now. By the way, there's a little tension in the air today. Let's not lie about what's going on here.
Between me and you?
Nope.
I was going to say, I didn't feel anything.
Between me and EJ and everybody else in New York.
Oh, big night.
Big night, Sixers, Knicks. After the Sixers struggled early in this series, there were a lot of people who said, oh, man, they shouldn't have traded James Harden. And then James Harden reminded everybody that he cannot play in the playoffs. Last night, this is a stat, according to our friend Nick Wright, James Harden ties the all-time NBA record for most playoff games with 10-plus shots and 3 or fewer makes with 17. 17 times he's taken more than 10 shots and hit less than 2. He was 2 for 12 last night, and the Clippers got killed. I just want to point out, James Harden is not the missing piece for the Sixers, Maggie. Not that you said he was.
No, I feel like sometimes I'm getting gaslit by the Clippers, and this is what I mean.
Yeah.
Not just with the, Harden is going to be a difference maker in the playoffs. We all know what's going to happen.
No.
Once you get to game 6, I guess 6 or beyond, 6 or 7, Harden is such a zero. And I'm also getting gaslit by the Clippers with, hey, Kawhi is going to come back and be a thing.
No. He's...
What? Who thinks this? He's getting treatment morning, noon, and night for a knee that's never cooperated for like 5 years. What are we doing?
I have not seen a playoff team not get back on defense like the Clippers last night. Like, they just don't care. They really are. That team is... Once Harden checks out, everybody seems to check out.
Because he's got the ball.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so Maggie, you tease that you keep doing something. And I can't wait for this because it sounds like something, dare I say, airheaded?
Yeah, kind of. And I'm getting a little scared for myself.
Let's hear it.
I've done this now twice in the last week where I've put a cup on the top of my car and driven away.
Like a Starbucks cup or something like that?
Well, the first was like a glass from my house.
Oh, boy.
And somehow didn't shatter in the street. And I had my husband and son in the car, so I had public humiliation on that one. And then today, we obviously, we're a morning show. We drink a lot of coffee around here.
Yeah.
I had my coffee cup, my big mug here, Yeti thing, and put it on, drove away. All of a sudden, I stop at the end of my driveway, and this thing went flying into the road.
Did you hear it or like saw it? What happened?
It tumbled down the car, like the front of the car.
Oh, my God.
Because I hit the brake at the end of the driveway, and this thing just went flying, and now the whole top is broken. I mean, somehow it survived.
What
I'm
if
still
you
drinking
broken the
coffee.
windshield?
That would have been a problem. Probably still would have driven to work just with a cracked windshield, like Ace Ventura looking out the side of the driver's side. I don't know. I've done this twice now in a week.
Can I explain it in 2 words? Morning shift.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely.
It's finally catching up with me.
Yeah. There's been signs that are coming. Also, the Deion conversation. I can't believe I'm somehow defending Deion for this behavior, Maggie.
Yeah, DeionSanders on social media getting into it with college football players, and not college football players who play at Colorado or even another FBS school from FCS Austin Peay, dunking on guys for their career stats. It's a look unbecoming of the Hall of Famer, if you ask me. Chris is in California, has a thought on it. Hey, Chris.
Hey, thanks for taking the call. And real quick, hey, go Sixers. And I agree with Perloff. Colorado didn't do much since the early 90s with the enemy and Cordell Stewart. But at the same time, former Division II football player, our coach used to tell us, we had a code of honor, code of respect, and it's cool to beat your opponent, but you don't humiliate them. And I think that was kind of a jerk move by Deion.
Yeah, Chris, thank you. I mean, listen, you can't claim to be this man of great character and leader of men, and then this be the example. Like, I got to be honest, it's just so silly that that's part of it to me. You know, how silly this is and how beneath this is for just an adult, let alone a Hall of Famer, let alone a coach of a college program or even a high school program. I mean, even a Pop Warner program. This is just so beneath him, and he just got right down in the muck.
I feel like you are setting the wrong expectation for Deion Sanders, like he's at any other coach. Dude has his own sunglass line. You bought a pair, didn't you?
I bought a knockoff pair.
Yeah.
A Halloween costume.
Yeah, tell the folks that.
I didn't commit to the bit fully. They
yeah.
were kind of expensive.
This guy is not Matt Rule or whoever. I don't know, whatever normal coach there is. He's Deion Sanders. So there's totally different set of rules. It can't be surprising that he's going on Twitter and mixing it up with people because he's Deion. He's just Deion. There's no other way to describe it.
Listen, how you treat people is who you are.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, when you walk into a room and say you all stink at football, get out of here, that's who he was.
Yeah, for your own reality show.
How you treat people and have your son film it and put it out to the world, that's who you are.
It is a reflection.
One thing about him, he does not hide. He's not trying to, there's no hypocrisy with Deion.
No, right out there. The poll question for you today and the question you can answer for us, are you in or out on Deion Sanders year 2 at Colorado? 855-212-4227. Andrew Bogusch is here. Hello.
Out. Good morning.
You can vote.
You were definitely a guy who was out 2 weeks in last year. I'm positive.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I can't wait. It's very easy for me to root against him and them.
Because of this, or?
Yeah, I just, like, I'm not surprised that he's doing it. Doesn't mean I'm not appalled by it. I mean, it sucks. There is no excuse for doing that yesterday. Zero. SHEDEUR runs his mouth. He's young, whatever. He needs to be an adult at some point. Every once in a while, he needs to remember that he's 50, 60 years old and should be a nicer person. Every once in a while.
Oh.
Especially when a kid, he wants to attack other coaches, that's fine. There's no need to join Twitter beefs against 20-year-olds.
What is the point of a nice Deion Sanders? Who wants a nice Deion Sanders?
There are still
just
rules.
Stop coaching. Just go back to TV.
No,
go
why
back
is
to the
it-
NFL Network. There's no reason to even have him there if you're going to make him like everybody else.
No, why is it all or nothing?
Because it's Deion. That's the name of his documentary. I'm
so
just
he
kidding.
doesn't get a free pass.
It's not that he has a free pass.
That's what you're
but, like,
saying. You're saying
why
he can do
does
whatever he
be
wants.
Nice? Why did the entire world descend on Boulder, Colorado last year?
Because we're stupid sometimes.
Well, also, I think
agree
you
with
can get, oh, yes, we are. I think you can get caught up in the flash and the excitement of what this is. And then you could also say, wow, this is really distasteful. This doesn't really line up with something that I want to root for.
Right.
It
Yeah,
can be both.
but if they win, everyone will be back on it. We'll have Gus Johnson as the official Colorado play-by-play guy on Fox.
But
everyone will be right back. They're not going to win, but if they did, they would.
But I think there is a conversation, though, about can you win acting this clownish?
Yeah.
That's that. Because we keep saying that, well, if they win, this will be fine. Well, at a certain point, you have to say, can a head coach who acts like this be successful at a high D1 program? And let's be clear, there was not a lot of success last year. There was a lot of people there. There was a lot of eyeballs there. But once they started playing against real teams, there was almost no success.
Well, it's a good point. And the other one is like, what's Deion's real ability here? The X's and O's, I'm not so sure. But the recruiting and the charisma and all of that stuff, which he has like on lock, people are going to negatively recruit against him on this. Now, I don't know if it's going to matter because maybe Deion Sanders walks into your living room and that's the only thing that matters. But teams are going to negatively recruit. Hey, if you decide that, if he decides, not even you, if he decides that you're not good or something, you could end up getting called out on social media by the coach. I don't know.
I think parents are like that. But by the way, you say all that, and what you just said, EJ, if you're telling me that you thought that after the Nebraska and TCU wins, you're just like, oh man, that's what I keep saying. Like, if it had kept on working, then everybody would have stayed on the Deion bandwagon. The only reason people jumped off is because they lost. Like, did you say that in week 3 when they were 3-0 that this is corny? Like, I don't think everybody said that. That's the thing. Like, we were accepting of Deion back then because it seemed to be working. Everyone thought it was working at first. No one thought they were going to lose their next 8 games.
And it was shocking, to be honest, because the over-under, I think, was, 3.5? So no one was expecting them to jump out to this big start, again, before reality hit of the Pac-12 season.
They beat a team that had just had great success the year before in TCU. It was wild.
But, Pearl, I feel like we're still always gathering information. I don't think it's fair to be like, well, because after 3-0, everybody was on board, you can't now say that at the end of the day, this didn't work. Because how you handle adversity and how you handle success and how you handle failure does impact and does educate how we view somebody as a head coach or a player or whatever.
But you should have known who Deion was before all that, because he's given us 30 years of being Deion.
Right, and there are reasons why people thought that worked for him as prime time, the cornerback. And there's reasons why people didn't think this would work for him as Coach Prime, the head coach of young men.
Who were the people? Where were they in week 3 of last year? Who were those people?
There were people. It was a minority.
But there was a large majority of people who were way on board with the Deion thing. He was like the Time Athlete of the Year. I mean, he was a huge deal.
But to act like he didn't
everybody was on board.
But Pearl, to act like, no, I'm not going to accept that. I can't. They act like there was a lot of detractors. There were a lot of people who were turning on to those games to watch him lose.
Yes.
There were a lot of people who were watching, going and say, I'm watching him because I don't like what he's doing. I don't like his rationale. I don't like how he's in together. Was he popular? Sure. But popularity doesn't mean everybody's on board.
Well, the media was definitely on board in a gigantic way. Like, that was a big part of it, too.
Right.
Yes.
But the media also follows the fans. Like
not in this case. I think the media was way more into Deion than the fans were, because there were a lot of fans who hate watching Deion too.
Right, but you're feeding that also. Right. I don't.
Nobody in the media was everybody was afraid to criticize him, because they're like, well, what if we criticize him? Then he goes 10-1.
He criticized as his first game, because when he's asking a question to the guy, and the guy's like, he's like, well, he's not answering the question. Like, well, do you believe? He wins his first game, which is a big moment, and he's already getting criticized in the press conference, fair or unfair, about how he's handling media questions. He was getting criticized throughout that entire situation, good, bad, or indifferent.
I don't see this as a media story. I mean, Deion is popular, and that's fine. But to me, this is I thought what was a bit of a red flag when he's filming, hey, everyone go hit the portal, right? And that the mass exodus that he had, just in the way that he did it. Not that coaches don't turn over a roster, but how he used it for content. I guess that's a media story. But that's one red flag. And then you go through the season, people are excited, and the season happens. And I think this yesterday, getting into it with another young man on social media, I think this is another red flag. So now you got 2. And so, if
you actually look, you probably have a lot more, I would imagine.
And he got criticized for how he left Jackson State, too. And I don't want people to forget that either. To act like everyone was just on board with how he left Jackson State high and dry, and how he told those people he was going to be there for a long time. He was going to support the Jackson State community. And he bounced. And look, I actually didn't have a problem with him bouncing. But there were a lot of folks in the Jackson community, a lot of folks in the HBCU community who felt like Deion used him. And Deion used him for his own gain, and for his own son's gain, and for Travis Hunter's gain. And I think, yes, there are a lot of flash and dash. There's a lot of popularity around Deion Sanders, but he has his detractors. He had them when he arrived at Bolt. He had them when they were 3-0. And what I'm seeing is a pattern where I feel like this is becoming more of a caricature of him as they lose more, which is a little concerning, because if he's going to turn this around, they've got to get this thing buttoned up.
Bogusch has headlines. By the way, you are welcome to weigh in on Deion. I should give you the number again, 855-212-4227.
Well, I just want to point out, he was SI's Sports Person of the Year. Yeah. Like, he had a big impact. I mean, and to say that there were all these detractors feels a little bit like Monday morning quarterbacking to me.
Let's get to the headlines. We have a lot going on in sports today.
Those headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $750 on average. Call or click today and find out if we could save you hundreds on your car insurance. If both games were blowouts, was there really NBA playoff action last night? The Celtics cruising into round 2 with a 118-84 destruction of the shorthanded Heat in Game 5 in Boston. Jaylen Brown not satisfied with winning a round.
I think we still have tests to go through throughout this playoffs. But I think we're graduating. We haven't graduated yet.
Now we're doing construction sounds.
Was that a jackhammer?
Yeah. I don't hear anything. Brown and Derek White each scored 25. The Heat played again.
Where are you recording this stuff? Out on the street?
Oh, that's the internet. I found a 10-minute file of construction sounds. Look out.
I enjoyed the commercial break music better, to be honest. Yes.
It's a little catchier. Yeah.
What do you have, a van backing up for us next time? They can just beep?
Stay tuned.
Okay.
The Heat played again without Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier, plus rookie forward Jaime Jaquez could not go last night. Kawhi Leonard sat out again for the Clippers and watched his buddies take a 123-93 drubbing from the Mavs, who now lead that series 3-2 with Game 6 in Dallas tomorrow. Ty Lue assumes his guys will be better then.
We know we can win on their floor. We've shown that the past 2 playoff series. We was down 3-2 the first time we played them. So, we didn't play our best game, and we understand that. I think we all understand that collectively. And so we'll be better for Game 6.
Luka Doncic better last night, 35.7 rebounds, 10 assists, despite a sprained right knee and a cold. The T-Wolves expect head coach Chris Finch to travel with them to Denver for Game 1 Saturday. They're working on bench configurations to make it safe for Finch to be on the sideline. All of this following surgery for the torn right patella tendon he suffered in an encore collision in round 1. This is why Pete will not bet on boxing, no matter how confident he is in the 57-year-old Mike Tyson. You never know what the other guy's doing. Ryan Garcia reportedly testing positive for PEDs the day before and the day of his win over Devin Haney last month. You'll be shocked to hear that Garcia says he did nothing wrong.
What's up, everybody? I came on here to address this bull claim that I cheated.
Lies.
Yeah. Everybody knows that I don't cheat. What can I say? Why didn't they come out with this before, the fight? If they found it before, why would they let me step into the ring as a cheater and then come out with a victory and then they post this,
Who's the backup singers?
I have no idea who those people were that were behind
Hype
him.
woman?
Lies. I like it.
We need our own hype man now.
I was gonna say.
Just walking around behind us.
I want somebody if Perloff and I are arguing about some kind of point.
Lies.
He says something that's lies.
Everyone's reported Deion. Lies.
By the way, what he's accused of taking is not like, it was at GNC. This thing is...
It's got too many letters to be an accident.
Yeah, it's not approved for human use.
Yeah.
This is not... and I think... And what's a shame about this is this fight actually did get some attention. Boxing is on its last gasp, but we need Mike Tyson to fight Logan Paul to actually matter. It was a fight that got a lot of attention. It was considered a success, and now 1 step forward, 2 steps back for boxing.
And I keep seeing this guy, on all the sites I check for weird sports gossipy thing, he's always on it. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know what his background is. But
when he
this Ryan
proposed
Garcia
marriage
guy,
to a porn star after they met 24 hours before.
Thank you. That's so okay. That explains some
I
of
didn't
it.
even know that one, and I follow Ryan Garcia very closely.
But is it all nonsense, or are there other serious red flags around this dude?
There are a lot of, this whole lead up to this fight, people thought he was consistently on drugs, not PEDs, but psychedelic or other types of drugs because of just how bizarre he had been acting. He kind of came up as this kind of almost boxing, I don't want to call him boxing influencer because to his credit, he is a really good boxer, but he was kind of a social media star.
You'll remember the story where he and Haney got into it, war of words at the top of the Empire State Building. Yep. It got so bad that he was supposed to throw out they were both supposed to throw out the first pitch at a Mets game, and the Mets canceled on him. So he walked out of the stadium just cursing up a storm. Here's the thing, though. Leading up to a fight, people do a lot to sell a fight. So you've got to act, you don't have to, but a lot of times you act really over the top just to get people's attention. Sometimes you excuse that behavior, but now this is bad.
It just sucks because, I'm a boxing fan. I really like boxing. I watched this fight. I followed Garcia and Haney. It was an awesome fight. One of the best, probably the best fight of the year. One of the best fights we've had in years. And you think, there was a fight where there was no corruption, no bad judging, none of the normal things that screw up a boxing situation. And then ruined by PEDs. It's just
don't believe in anything.
Boxing can't win. They can't win.
Just watch X-Men 97 at 3:30 in the morning.
That will never let you down. Just watch more cartoons before work.
You're right about that.
No B's, no extra innings, just a routine win for the Dodgers in Arizona last night.
Here it comes. And Andy swings and he hits one high in the air. Deep left center field. Gone. A home run. floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee. Andy Pages makes it 2-0 Dodgers.
Tim Neverett on his game on Dodgers radio. Andy Pages, the 2-run homer, part of a 5-run second, which led to an 8-0 LA win. The Rockies 7-23 after a 4-1 loss in Miami. They have now trailed in all 30 of those games. And the Guardians topped the Astros 3-2-10. Stephen Kwan had the tie-breaking RBI double, or RBI single, that is, then made a diving catch in left to start a game-ending double play. The Oilers ousted the Kings 4-3 in Game 5, and the Stars won Game 5 at home 3-2 over Vegas for a 3-2 series lead. That's the first win by the home team in that series. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Coming up, big praise for one up-and-coming quarterback. We'll tell you who said it. That all happens next. It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, we're trying to figure out Carlos's music theme today. We had the Beatles before. Now we've got Aerosmith. Okay. Keep noodling on that.
I'll give you a hint. It's not the Beatles specifically.
Oh, it was the song you played.
It was John Lennon. Just John Lennon.
Okay. And now
wink, wink.
Oh, no, don't have anything. Is that no.
You say
John Lennon is the dude looks like a lady?
Wait,
what?
Is this just Steven Tyler, or didn't Aerosmith do this whole song?
This song is Aerosmith, but I'm trying to weave you away from the Beatles as a group for that first song.
Okay. All right, we'll keep working on this. Carlos's brain works in interesting ways.
Carlos is amazing at doing this. He was stymied this morning. It's like, what should I do for my music theme? I mean, I'm disappointed that he didn't come with something and he had to.
Well, he's got something now, and we can't figure it out.
Nope.
So let's get to one of the great mysteries of the NFL, Perloff, and it's not the Falcons draft strategy. No, it's why DavanteAdams wants to continue with the Las Vegas Raiders. I can't figure it out. I don't think you can figure it out. And he's asked almost every time he steps out of his home, anytime he's in public and there's a microphone around him, he's asked, why? Why do you still want to be here? There's no quarterback here. There's no future here.
Can I give you 4 things you will not give up on, Maggie Gray?
Yeah.
You would not give up on Nick Saban retiring after the season. He retired.
Thank you.
You will not give up on Tom Brady coming back to play football.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little dicey.
At least he did say something.
Yeah.
I don't think you're really giving up on Steve Kerr and the rest of the guys at Golden State leaving until they actually come back.
Yeah, that last dance thing didn't really come true.
You will not.